for free movement amongst countries and nations that are member states.
Yes.
And then it's a whole topic on its own. But that is the biggest challenge I think the incoming government, as will be led by His Excellency Ahmed Bola Tinubu, will try to look at. They should try and look at how they can police our borders and try and get scanners at our border posts that can, that could detect, these small arms when they are concealed, because they bring them in through different methodologies.
Okay.
That's why we talk about the techniques and method, through which these arms dealers.
Yes.
Because it also goes pursuit with drugs. Those most times you find that drug dealers or drug barons are in most times also dealing with arms. But all of this, it takes a huge expertise before anybody will be able to completely detect, whether from our land borders, even from at our seaports, containers that come. If I tell you how some of these arms, firearms and ammunition are concealed in containers, false compartments are built to carry them, and then goods are loaded in them. And then in the absence of scanners, good scanners, you may not be able to detect them. So Nigeria today cannot really give a record of how much illicit arms are circulating among the non-state actors. So I think that's where it starts from. Every crime or criminal that must commit a crime needs firearms. And once they are in possession of those firearms, then they can do and undo. Okay. I think if we are looking at security matters, whether arms that goes to terrorists, whether arms that goes to bandits, whether ISWAP, whether Boko Haram, whether the bandits, whether armed robbers, whether kidnappers, and all of that, they need these firearms to execute their nefarious carry out their nefarious acts. And so it's a bigger challenge. Even that's why Mr. President talking about the incumbent president at the moment. He talked about it at the time.
Okay.
And so going forward, they should be able to work on, the incoming government should be able to take it as a matter of priority or declare a state of emergency on how to, achieve and conquer. Then there are the aspect of the blacksmiths, those who manufacture small arms in the country.
Okay, Chief Darlington, just a moment. Yes, just a moment. Before we go into the blacksmiths and those who in Nigeria or local
it's actually bordered on land by four countries.
Okay.
And then if you look at it, it has to do with Cameroon, Niger, Republic of Benin, and Chad. Now, with the numerical strength of your security agents, if you pack all of them away from inside the country, and then go and line them up from the beginning of one country to the end, where on our border, they cannot completely cover them. Now, what we need is the use and the deployment of IT. I think that's what the incoming government should really consider, the deployment of IT to monitor these borders, and also the use of drones, surveillance drones, not combat drones now, that will patrol these border points and give information. But even so, some of those illegal routes are very difficult to police. If, for instance, in Lagos State, you have the legal route. Okay, in Ogun State, you have the legal route. That's the border points where if you're traveling, you can find. But in Ogun State, the border point in Ogun State, you still have the illegal routes where you find customs chasing after smugglers. And then there's shootings. These smugglers are heavily armed too when they are moving. And so because they are ready for anything, they take on the security agents. They have their militant body that follows whatever they are trying to smuggle in case of reprisal, and then they take on the security agents. The custom officials have lost a lot of men in this battle trying to checkmate what comes in, because that is primarily the responsibility of customs. Okay, if you want to look at it, aside from the police assisting and all of that, it is the primary assignment given to the customs.
Okay.
And so it is a bit difficult, my brother, to achieve. But like I've suggested, because of time now,
yes,
maybe we'll look at it some other time when we'll have enough time. It's topic on its own.
Yes,
it's a topic on its own. But right now, what I would recommend for the incoming government that will be led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that a lot of IT should be deployed. The use of cameras,
yes,
the use of drones should be employed, so that from the situation room somebody can actually monitor some of this. But it's not even enough, because cattle grazing from other parts of the other country into Nigeria through the northern area.
Yes.
The Sahel. Because of ECOWAS agreement amongst movement for member countries.
Okay. Yes.
And so, as a result, some of these cattle that graze into Nigeria and graze that are also used. That's now going about methods and techniques for which small arms and light weapons are smuggled into Nigeria. Cattle are actually used. If you find some of those cattle, they are carrying loads.
Yes.
Donkeys are carrying loads.
Yes.
Camels are carrying loads.
Yes.
Some of those loads are padded with small arms and light weapons, and then they ferry them into the country. These are things that have been discovered. These are empirical facts, through which this proliferation of small arms and light weapons has gained, a lot of entrance into the country. So it's a bigger challenge. The moment we can, that's why, for instance, the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons, where I was a consultant at a point in time, was programs in that body was sponsored by the EU, by the UN, by ECOWAS, to do a lot of things concerning this proliferation of small arms.
Yes.
At the time, you remember that in this country, arms were recovered. People were told to submit the arms they have in circulation, and then amnesty were granted.
Yes.
And then in return, alternative livelihood were given from some of these persons who were carrying these weapons.
Yes.
But today, I think that has been transformed into the Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, which has not really started work. Again, the National Assembly, there is a bill in the National Assembly that is supposed to translate or transform that body into a commission where it could have a budget of its own that can help it work. But as it is at the moment, that body is at the mercy of the presidency. The presidency gives it money, but not money appropriated to it. The National Assembly cannot appropriate money to it because it is not yet a commission. And so that bill, I think, has passed the first phase, is still on, and that's why even as we speak now, the new body as set up by the NSA is yet to formally kick off. That's talking about the Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons that is supposed to have taken over from the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons. As I speak with you, Nigeria and I think Angola has, I think it's about Nigeria and one other country that are yet to have a commission. Every other country in Africa has a commission on the control of small arms and light weapons.
Just a moment, High Chief. I believe the incoming administration and those who are going to be working with the incoming administration are really paying attention to this very, very important conversation we are having. Chief Darlington, I don't want us to just have this conversation alone. I want to open the lines to callers who can call into the program and maybe ask a question since you are the expert, so you can answer, or some other contribute to the program given the space of time that we have. Welcome once again to On Record. The number to call is 0700 1021 1021. I'll take that again, 0700 1021 1021. You can send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. We are having a conversation with the security expert, and we are talking about setting the security agenda for the incoming administration to fight and tame insecurity in the country Nigeria. But before we proceed. I know you are talking about giving the commission status to the control of small arms in the country. Okay, we already have a caller on the line. Hi, Chief. Good morning and welcome to On Record. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to On Record.
My name is Elijah Yaku from Command.
Oh, Elijah Yaku from Command. Good morning. Welcome to On Record. What's your take?
My take is the invasion of Libya. And Americans coerced the Arabs, the African Union, to sign in for the invaded Libya, not knowing that they are going to destabilize the entire West Africa. The killing among Gaddafi is the worst thing the Europeans, the Americans did to Africa. So in order to solve this problem, we have to present this at the United Nations. Yes, you have to stop the war in Libya, and then find a way.
I can't hear him.
I will interpret that to you, Chief.
Okay.
We have to find a way. Americans, you have to present this at the United Nations. I'm repeating myself again.
Okay.
For them to stop this war in Libya, so that we can have peace in the whole of West Africa, because the whole of West Africa is in trouble.
Okay.
If you can remember, when Libya Muammar Gaddafi fell, the country fell. Mali was taken over by the Tuareg rebels.
Okay.
The whole of northern Mali was taken over. It took the intervention of ECOMOG, Nigeria, and then other African countries to restore peace in Mali.
Yes.
And then still there's no peace.
Okay.
So my own suggestion is Americans, they are the one that caused this problem for us.
Okay.
They should solve this problem for us.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hi, Chief.
Yes.
What our caller just said, he was actually corroborating what you said earlier on about the war in Libya and how that transformed into the movement of small arms and light weapons into different parts of the country, including Nigeria. But he equally took it to the West African region and said that was equally one of the reasons that gave birth to rebels taking over Mali, because we know that after then the Malian civilian government was toppled by a military dictator. And he said if we are going to tackle this, that Nigeria will need to take this to the United Nations because America, he alleged that America was even part of those who plotted the taking over of Libya, and that we need to take this to the United Nations and call Americans to seek their input into solving this problem, because Nigeria is not only those who are going through that particular consequence, but that the whole of West Africa is in it. You want to respond to some of that before we go to the next question?
No, I think he's not far from the truth. It means that he has an idea of some of the things that happen. But the truth is that there's no way America will come and then come and do some of those things for you. They can only support you through some of, like I stated earlier on, I said the UN, the EU, ECOWAS, and some other international organizations were actually sponsored some programs with the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons with the view to arresting some of these things. Some trainings were also organized for us. We attended some trainings, and some organizations also came to train even the consultants, the experts, and members of the Presidential Committee on Small Arms and Light Weapons. In order that they will be able to. We can only update and bring give training, rejig the security architecture. Along this line.
Okay, thank you very much, High Chief. Now, we have been having a conversation for close to 30 minutes now, so let's briefly go on a break, and when we return, High Chief, I'm going to take the question to one of the inputs you made earlier on about local manufacture of small arms and how you expect the incoming administration to put policy actions in place in taming this local monster. So that will be when we are back briefly from this break and we jump into this conversation. It's On Record, where every word matters. Maybe you're trying to call and you couldn't get across to us. Please send a message to 0907 224 5018, a WhatsApp message to 0907 224 5018. It's On Record, where every word matters. We'll be back in a moment. Do stay with us.
People are calling me now.
Welcome to On Record.
Every word matters.
What I want to do is to take Nigeria from consumption to production.
My name is Mr. Innocent Chuboma. I started by trading on motorcycle spare parts.
They really ask, how much is the Nigerian life worth?
Policing is everybody's business, not the business of the men on uniform alone.
We will establish student loan 4 years course, only 4 years course.
When you dispense, a pharmacist dispenses a drug to a patient, the name of the drug must be written on the envelope.
On Record is a 45-minute program where we discuss the actions, inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview.
Join us 9 a.m. every weekday on your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. On Record.
Every word matters.
Are you looking for an avenue to blast your brand? Why not let us be your detonator at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM with Got You Covered. For advert placement, sponsorship, partnership, call us on 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, 0902 745 3931, or send an email to info@highimpactstudio.com.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. It's On Record, where every word matters, and we are setting the security agenda for the incoming administration. My conversation this morning has been with High Chief Darlington Umoru, a security consultant and a security expert, and we are on this together. And welcome once again. We are live on Twitter at High Impact 1021 FM. We are also live on YouTube at High Impact 102.1 FM. Welcome once again, Chief Darlington Umoru.
Thank you. My pleasure being here.
Yes, you talked about local manufacture of small arms. How can what kind of policy action can the incoming administration put in place to checkmate this so that this works for us and not against us, where the Nigerian military can take over this local manufacture?
Well, it has been a menace. It's a menace actually across the world, particularly the African region. In Nigeria, those people will commonly refer to as blacksmiths. They have gone so advanced in the manufacture of these firearms.
Yes.
They've gone so advanced to the extent that at one of our trainings, we were actually given the assignment to separate, between the locally manufactured, the blacksmith manufactured firearms from those manufactured by licensed companies in Europe. And then it became a challenge. And then I give you an instance also. Some persons were arrested in Jos a couple of years back who were manufacturers of the AK-47, which is an assault rifle. And if you look at those assault rifles they manufactured, they look exactly like those ones that are imported. Now that tells you about how much the local blacksmith we have here have advanced. I also tell you a story about which was revealed in one of our trainings, by the program coordinator. He told us about how an arrest was made of a young man who was manufacturing small arms. And then the weapon that the security agents took to him to arrest him, he viewed one of them and pleaded that one of those weapons should be left with him for 24 hours. And that when they come back, he will produce a replica, an exact replica, not a parody now. Is an exact replica of that weapon, and then he will ask them to differentiate, to pick their own from the two. Now, this is to tell you how much advancement this thing has been on. Let me take you back to the issue when we had the civil war, which we have all regretted up until tomorrow. If you remember, Biafra were not really depending arms.
Hello? Are you there? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
And then, they were manufacturing their own arms, and it worked for them. They fabricated their own. Today, it has also, leaving that aspect now, today we have that across many states in Nigeria where this thing is going on.
So how can this work for us, Chief Darlington? How can this work for us and not against us?
Now, my own suggestion is, this is my own personal opinion now.
Yes.
There's DICON. DICON is a licensed body in Nigeria that produce arms for us. Okay? Now, my thinking has been that rather than arrest and prosecute these persons and they go back to the society again, and most of them return to the same activity, of this thing, of this arms manufacture.
Yes.
When you arrest some of these persons, you see are highly technical in the production of small arms and light weapons.
Yes.
My thinking is that they should be absorbed into DICON.
Okay.
If they absorb into DICON, they can now put that technical know-how into legal manufacture of those firearms for the country. That is what I think the government should also, there should be a policy that will help that. Get those of them who are very good arrested, because DICON may not have the best of hands, even though you have the military there, you have those who have been formally trained, but you have these persons who you may want to define as not had a formal training, but they have this local training that gives them, and then some of them are naturally talented. Naturally talented. I think if you absorb them into DICON or into any of these bodies where they could do this, then it would have been very good.
Okay. Okay, Chief Darlington, thank you so much. Now we need to move a little bit faster because of our time. Let me take you to another aspect of insecurity, or that may constitute insecurity in the land that lots of people are not paying attention to, and then the incoming administration will need to focus its lens in that direction, and how you will advise the incoming administration to do that. And do you remember that Nigeria was 45 million in 1960? As the same thing with France, as decade and decade continues to unfold, the population of Nigeria continues to grow geometrical progression, but investment in human and social development, education, electricity, healthcare, and infrastructure kept up with population growth. Currently, France is about a little bit above 60 million, while Nigeria is about 116 million, or I beg your pardon, 200 million or 216 million. So the decades of population growth collided with neglected human, social, and economic development. Scholars have said that this trend of absence of proper planning and execution of national economic development goals can also be attributed to the rampant criminal activities. Another data that recently emerged in 2022 said that in 2050 Nigeria will be 401 million, and this portrays that the main threat to Nigeria is underdevelopment, not even insecurity. So how would you advise the incoming administration to tackle this?
Well, anywhere in the world, Nigeria is the most populated black nation in the world. Any projection in terms of population growth cannot or may not be faulted. You may not be able to fault them empirically, because Nigeria does not have what is loosely referred to as birth control.
Okay.
Or population control. Here you can marry 20 wives. Here one man can have as many as 60 children. Somebody went, a member of the Parliament, National Assembly, came to oh my goodness, was live and was proud to state the number of wives he has and the number of children he has, and that he delayed coming because he had to attend to them. He delayed coming to a sitting National Assembly because he had to attend to his large family. That is just an instance. And now when you have a population you cannot cater for, particularly the youth population, the result will almost always become a problem for security. Because most of these children are not properly taken care of. Many of them don't even have parental care. The government does not even have enough jobs for them. Elsewhere, jobs are not 60% provided for the population by the government. They are provided by individuals who have the enabling environment, to set up industries and organizations that will employ these persons. You know how many graduates are chunked out annually in Nigeria by the higher institutions, all the universities, all the polytechnics, all the colleges of education, all the other higher institutions. They graduate people, humans, on an annual basis at the end of every session. But who takes care of that population? Who takes care of them? That's why today you have some persons who are either master's degree holders, who are graduates. They ride Okada. Some ride what you call the tricycle. Some do Uber just to make ends meet. That is the reasonable ones. But you have those of them who I don't think is an excuse, who will take to crime. On television yesterday, I referred to a section of children who are not properly taken care of, that are referred to as the Alumanjiris.
Okay.
These children, you remember the Jonathan administration tried something wonderful. He built schools for them, and they built hostels, and said that these children should be taken there and be given formal education, and then from there they can take them up. But what has happened to that program? What has happened to that program?
Okay, so would you expect the incoming administration to rejig all these previous programs?
Yes. Okay. When we highlight the problems, then the incoming administration will understand them. This is a problem. The incoming administration should rejig that, should revisit that policy by the Jonathan administration that was meant to take out these children from the streets. Particularly in the north. You have them in the south also, but they are not referred to as Alumanjiris. You have them in every part of the state where you find it. Like Lagos State government, for an instance, they have a program at a point in time during school hours. Children that are found hawking or parabolating the streets were arrested, and then taken. Their parents were traced. And then Lagos State government also tried at the time to introduce what they call a free education for children in public schools. We also had that under the UPN administration, if you remember, where UPN declared free education to secondary school level. Many people benefited from that program. I would suggest that the Tinubu administration should consider free education, because most parents can no longer afford school fees. Private schools everywhere, you find them everywhere, but school fees have skyrocketed because of the fall of the value of the naira.
Okay, I see. Lastly, because this out of school, recently, maybe not too long ago, we heard that Nigeria is now the center, the capital of out of school children as well. And I'm glad you just referenced the administration making programs like free education for these people. But what about the market that we talked about for tertiary institutions? Can you just answer this within 45 seconds, so we'll call it a day on the program? What about that? Yes, it's because our time is gone, and my producers are already chasing me out of the studio. So how would you respond to that? Well, because when we talk about this out of school children, the focus is always on the northern part of the country. What about the south? What about Rivers State? There are lots of cult activities. Yes, you did.
I mentioned the south now.
Yes,
that's
you
why
did.
I also talked about Lagos. I said they are everywhere. Beyond that, please, because I think we are concluding this segment today. Beyond that, I also want the government to look at these things, these concepts I want to mention. Funding of equipment, corruption amongst the military and the paramilitary bodies like the security agents, purging all security outfits, and then the purchase of unmanned area vehicles, both combat and those to be used for surveillance, and then increase in personnel of the military and the security agency, and then synergy.
Yes.
How these security agents and the military should be able to work hand in hand, just like they are doing, and then build more on Intel. We discussed Intel the other day, talking about the use of IT more, and you can get drones, you can get surveillance helicopters, you can get surveillance aircraft, and then you do analysis of all of this to give you, the result that can make that can make his government be proactive in terms of crime. Whether armed robbery, we are just talking about terrorism and banditry. What of armed robbery that takes place in certain places? What about the southeast, where you have the issue of the ESN, and then down to north central, where you have the farmers' headers problem. All of this, you need all these gadgets to be able to gather information that will be analyzed to give you intel, and then you will be proactive. They are doing very well. The Nigerian military is doing well. Our security agents are doing well, but they need to up the game.
Thank you so much.